Okay, so you might be asking yourself, oh my god, Megan, what are you doing here? It's hopefully the 15th. It's the 15th of July. You're not supposed to come to us with a book review until the end. But besties, I had a traumatic weekend. Things keep happening in the world and they're just not fun. This isn't very girl boss of you, Supreme Court majority rule. So I, in the aftermath of Roe v. Wade being overturned, I needed to not be on social media all the time. So I just found something better, more productive with my time to do. So it's not, doom scrolling is the unproductive part. So I read this entire book, and like I said at the end of last video, which is actually going up today, that's how quickly this turnaround is, this book was relatively short, so it's like not that big of a deal, but still, I've read it twice at this point, because I was working. I was away, AFK, away from keyboard, so I couldn't script until I sat down to script it last night. But yeah, we're gonna read this. I read it in 4 days. Blah, blah, blah. It's not easy. Book 7, it's not easy being mean. This book, I do believe I read. I know it's like, Megan, how did you own most of these books? I owned 6 of them out of 14. And then 3 of the summer collection. So I owned quite a bit of the series. But, I just, like, would get secondhand embarrassment and would flip through, hopefully trying to find a section that wasn't painfully embarrassing. Surprise! This series is painfully embarrassing. So, I never found that. So, I think I actually did read this because of one very specific core memory I have from this era. But I don't know where I was going with that. I actually really like this book. It kind of, we like peaked in a storyline in Dial L for Loser, and then we are coming down. We are in the descending as far as like Massey hateability, and I hate for that to be the marker of like how good a story is. But if you can make me hate Massey and still want me to see like her succeed in every like, you know, new book, new me, like that's a skill that I can't shit on. So yeah, let's read the back of the book. As always, I haven't read it yet. Oh, hold up, I remember what I was gonna say when I started knocking. The reason why this is one of the Deanna books, so I think it's, again, one of the first edition books. This one was put on sale April 2nd, 2012, so it's probably one that I acquired later. I think this is a first edition of the book because for the most part, these books, the ones that I know I bought, like, Best Friends for Never, the first Clique book, I haven't checked out P.S. I Loathe You, and These Boots, My Little Phony. Those are all later books. But I know I had Invasion. Yeah, I had Invasion. I had The Pretty Committee, and I had Revenge. So I know these all haven't had anything at the end. They just end. The last page of the book is it. But this one has a fun little Q&A with Lacey, and then a little author's like bibliography, but it also has a whole bunch of books that if you like if you like these books, then you'll love these. And it also has the running order of the Gossip Girl books and also the It Girl books, which are sister series. There's also the A-List, which I might check out, just like get the first book in these series. This is from Silsey Von Zadler. And the A-List is Zoe Dean. So I'll probably check that out first before I go to Talent. I've watched the same Maddie Morphosis performance 3 times. Megan, get it together. Okay. Let's read the back. That's what I was doing. Look out, boys. Here comes the Clique. Massey Block. Getting back into Octavian Country Days was a piece of sugar-free cake compared to Massey's next goal, finding the key that unlocks an amazing, legendary secret room at OCD. Alpha 8th grader Sky Hamilton and her clique have stashed the key in the bedroom of a mystery Briarwood boy. But which one? Whoever finds the key gets access to the secret room for an entire year, and the prestige that comes along with it. But what happens when LBR Lane seems to be getting closer? Yeah, I said that right. This is way more than a matter of life or death. It's a matter of in or out. Kristen Gregory. Always been a star on the soccer field, but her style gets majorly cramped when her friends are forced to join the team, too. They better start kicking those soccer balls, or Kirsten's gonna start kicking some. Hey! Alicia Rivera uses her skill as a gossip reporter to scheme her way into the rooms of all the Briarwood hotties. Again, I guess. Dylan Marvel. Heard depression makes people lose weight. Is hoping for some sad news soon because she's popping donut holes the way some people pop Tic Tacs. Claire Lyons. Being famous isn't all it's cracked up to be. Her agent confiscates her gummies and forces her to do some very bad things to make her more edgy. Worst of all, her constant meetings with lawyers and movie execs are eating into her time with the PC and with Cam. Is being a Hollywood starlet worth the Gucci high price tag? I had the realization while sitting here reading that to you that this is actually a Kristen forward book. God damn it. How am I already... That for once, she isn't just, a background activity. She is the third plot. I would say that Alicia has moved to the back. And Dylan, her whole bit is still that she is fat and does not want to be. God, it is... But you know what? I will give it that Massey's actual little blurb, for once, accurate. Claire's, wholly inaccurate. We'll get into it. Do some very bad things. It's just very inaccurate. That's inaccurate. That's silly. That's silly, Lacey. That's silly. Okay. Just like, And if you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe it would behoove you to go back and watch my Alpha series. I essentially am doing the same. It's actually quite a different format. It was much more freeform. There was less quotes to read. The videos went faster because I wasn't reading entire quotes until we got to the 3rd and 4th book, and then it was and then it was all hell because I had digital copies and could look at it on my phone. Their set of stray thoughts is the ease in which DSL, which they explain what DSL means, but it's still dick sucking. It's still a dick joke. a children. I had reservations about calling these girls bitches. And yet here they are, making me say a dick joke multiple times. In general, I just don't feel like this is the last we're going to see of Sky in these books. She's just an 8th grader. She's just a baby. She's actually going into being a 9th grader. Because it's April. And you know what that means? It's the end of the school year. I'm really excited to see more of Sky. I don't know. I feel like there was a lot of setting up. There wasn't a lot of setting up Sky because we're supposed to know her from the Clique books. We know of her mystique, obviously, but like, I don't know these girls. But we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 books left. What? Yeah. There's the whole Clique, but minus that we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I feel like I'm finally getting a hold of my life. So it's the Sunday before they return back to school. It's the day after the last book. And the girls are watching from Massey's bedroom window as Todd and Tiny Nathan sell some of Claire's items to willing people who want to buy them from her because she's going to be a celebrity. Massey's jealous because all these LBRs, losers beyond repair, want to buy Claire's cheap machine washables. Her cheap machine washables as if they're worth something. You know, Massey is trying to find an outfit for tomorrow, and it's just not working out. The clothing, the girls aren't being very helpful, and the clothing isn't clothing like it's supposed to, so what is even life to have? Besides, she already knew what Claire stalkers looked like. They had been riding past the estate on bikes and scooters for the last 2 days to see where the star of the movie, Dial L for Losers, slept, ate, and peed. Massey was constantly fighting the urge to poke her freshly razored layers out of the window and yell, "Didn't any of you stalkers watch the Daily Grind? Didn't you see Alicia and me broadcasting live from set every day for 2 weeks straight? Don't you remember those pictures of me with Connor Foley and Us Weekly? Why don't you want to buy my scarves? Why don't you want to take my picture? Why?" I am nothing if not a reformed brat. But all she said was, "Get used to it, miss. I'm moving to California to be a Hollywood superstar." Massey lamenting the fact that no one wants to take a picture of her and refers to Claire as Miss I'm moving to California to be a Hollywood superstar soon. Massey snubs Claire constantly about, being wanted. Okay. Massey snubs and mocks Claire's general anxiety about being wanted and watched, and like people buying her clothing freaks her out, rightfully so. About being wanted and craved inside out by saying that as a celebrity, her life is public property. And if you don't like it, leave it. Which is obviously a large oversimplification of both Claire's feelings and the actual, how it is to be a celebrity. I think celebrity and our relationship to celebrity as consumers has changed in the advent of social media, because now, you don't need to have a team, because I think there is a talent to growing a social media, following a group of people who want to consume your content that you made. But without that team of people, the layers of people take away the authenticity of the creator, but it also protects the creator from this kind of weirdo hero worship shit. And with anyone at any level being a celebrity, it opens up people who have a lack of boundaries to people on every level to be, victimized by a system that doesn't do a very good job of caring for its, you know, not its celebrities, but like, you know, people are still people. And they, you know, they don't deserve to be accosted. Because, you know, these are still children. I'm doing the Shane Dawson lean again. Pick up the paper, Megan. That they're still, in fact, children. They're 12-year-olds. You can check out my McVing. Put the script down, Rebecca. Why is this happening to me? You can check out my thoughts on celebrity culture and the like in my McBling video from January, which is like doing really well in a way that I kind of was hoping for but did not expect. I am very proud of it. So, as Massey's trying to rally the troops, she's just like, in case you forgot, the Pretty Committee was just expelled from OCD for 3 weeks because we ran into the woods on a class field trip and got lost. Massey put her hands on her narrow hips. Instead of sitting on our couches watching High School Musical, we went to Hollywood and made something of ourselves. Speak for yourself. Kirsten exchanged an eye roll with Dylan. Yeah, some of us weren't allowed to go to California. Remember? Dylan stuffed a cube of watermelon-flavored bubblegum into her mouth, then immediately unwrapped another piece and jammed it in. Some of us stayed here and wrote butt-kissing essays and signed your name so you could get back into school. Remember? Kirsten glared at Massey. Of course I remember. I was getting to that part. But seeing as you already mentioned how great you think you are, I'll skip over it. The point is, we have less than 24 hours and we'll be walking into the halls of OCD while hundreds of jealous eyeballs scan us, searching for flaws. This takes Claire off guard because she normally thinks that people love the Pretty Committee, that the baby hand down, because she normally associates people with loving the Pretty Committee and adoring them and their adoring screaming fans and people who want to be just like them. But Massey does not see the girls of OCD as admirers. She sees them as possible competition to her reign as alpha. I mean, I guess when the call was coming from inside the house 1, 2, 3 different times, it's not hard to see why she'd be like, maybe I don't trust these girls. Kirsten is generally jealous because she had all the sucky parts of being out of school. Getting behind on homework, not being able to be around her friends, and not being able to go to soccer games and soccer practice. Meanwhile, Massey, Alicia, and Claire got to, you know, run around, and Dylan's mom's a celebrity, so she got to just, you know, futz about and I guess hang near Kirsten. There's no fame, no superstardom, no, you know, accelerated, you know, adoring fans for Kirsten. Massey doesn't see the girls as, you know, adoring fans to be envied, like Claire does. She sees them as someone to emulate, as someone that's going to want to emulate her, that's going to want to find flaws and pick apart, improve on the patent, you know? Whew. Move fast, break stuff as far as teenage girl supremacy. They're still trying to figure out what to do with the last waning hours of freedom on their Sunday, but Kirsten's like, what about soccer practice? Which the girls are just like, ugh, because they do actually have to go and do an extracurriculum per Principal Burns in the last book. Obviously it's apparent, but Massey got her extensions taken out, and she now has like a jagged layer cut, which I very distinctly remember the girlies having in middle school. Kirsten's like, what about soccer practice? Because the girls still have to join a club. They all decided to join soccer. Soccer team meant that they would get to spend more time with the boys. And Claire, who genuinely likes soccer, got to join the soccer team. However, this doesn't really become a thing because Claire is literally never at practice. Kirsten is agitated at the girls because she knows they're not going to take soccer seriously. And the team has a serious chance of going to the finals. They worked hard, but, if you have to, reintroduce new girls to the team at the very end, and they're not good, and they're going to just, ruin everything, it can be very frustrating. You can love your friends and know that your friends are terrible for your hobby, that they do not take it seriously and would ruin it for you. They do not care. They're not gonna do whatever. They're not gonna do what Coach asks, and they're gonna do whatever they want. So, whatever. Claire has to meet with her agent in Manhattan tomorrow, so she's going to miss soccer practice. Yeah, but I have to meet my agent in Manhattan, so I'm gonna miss practice. Clenching her fists, Massey fought another urge to tear Claire's white blonde hair out of her annoying, conceited movie star head. Are you seriously going to pass up a summer of co-hosting pool parties and gossiping about boys to work? Yeah, Claire said in a who wouldn't sort of way. Point, Alicia lifted her finger out from the duvet. Dylan and Kirsten giggled while Massey contemplated her sudden need to make Claire cry. She wanted to hurt her feelings and crush her confidence and treat her like an unworthy, unimportant, undesirable loser. Maybe then Claire would understand how Massey felt, being dumped for a stupid movie. I think we've reached a point. It's really clear after, after Best Friends for Never. See how quickly that paid off for me. Not Best Friends for Never, Revenge of the Wannabes. How close Claire and Massey got, but it was kind of like, oh, we're giggly girlfriends, we're gonna spend so much time together. But Massey wasn't mean to Claire like she was to the rest of the crew. She was mean, but she was just kind of like normal mean. Now, Claire's fully inculcated into the clique, and she is confident now. That's part of it. Is before Claire was unsure of her footing and Massey kind of treated her like a little baby deer. There's no more baby deer here. Massey wants her, to into line with the rest of the girls. So I think she really does treat her like she thinks friendship should be. I mean, those lines where she's just like, I want to make her feel small like I feel, is just like, everything makes sense now. It's all making a bit more sense. So, sometimes a character is just like super important, but it didn't make sense to include them in our narrative until now. And that's essentially what our beloved Sky Hamilton is. Because all of a sudden, we're just like, who's that? And Claire's just like, who is that? And the girls are just like, person that's so important to our oeuvre and our group chat, and we think about her all the time. And Claire's just like, who is this girl? Oh my god. Alicia covered her highly glossed mouth like a shocked American Idol winner. It's not a fan. It's Sky Hamilton. Listening to AFI? Kirsten crinkled her perfect J-shaped nose. Imposs! Massey marched across her ivory sheepskin area rug and pushed the girls aside. Who's that? Claire asked, catching her balance on the wall. 8th grade Alpha, Massey explained. Her eyes fixed on Sky. Check out that yellow Porsche convertible, Kirsten ogled. Check out the driver. Alicia rolled her shoulders back like she was offering her C-cups to the universe. I fully heart guys who wear dark jeans with gray tees, and I doubly heart black wavy hair. That's the cutest guy I've never seen, Dylan sighed. I've seen him, Kirsten fanned her cheeks, on an Abercrombie bag. How does her hair look so good? Dylan twirled a shiny red ringlet around her finger, then burped. I'd look like Chucky from Rugrats after riding that thing. Why haven't I noticed her before? Claire asked, poking her head between Massey and Alicia's. She's always with the boys. Massey tried her best to sound unimpressed. That's why her group is called the DSL Daters. Why? Because they make super fast connections, like dial-up DSL internet. That's a terrible pun to make, and it also doesn't track in a world in which DSL is not the fastest form of internet, and dick-sucking lips is still something that weirdos and teenagers say. So, choices. Do you think she's here to buy something of mine? Claire asked, sounding one part shocked and two parts psyched. Well, she's not here to buy anything of Claire's. She's there to deliver a letter, an envelope that gets bestowed to Todd. I kind of really like what I wrote here, so I'm gonna read it to you, even though we are introduced to Sky Hamilton. Now, I have not watched these videos literally since I first started producing them. But I implore you to check back the beginning of my Girl Bossing Through History series. There, you'll see the sequel series to the Clique books, the Alpha series. I was confident. The Alpha series by Lacey Harrelson. Book series that are the sequel series to the Clique books that I truly believe was meant to be another mammoth multi-book, 10-book series. While reading, I find really clearly got cut into 4 books. It improves on things from the Clique series, like cutting down our main characters from 5 to 3. And it follows Sky, who is a year older than Massey. So instead of it being about the 14-year-old Sky Mackenzie is from Secrets. You get Sky Hamilton, who is, 13, just a year older than Massey. And this book takes place a year before the Alpha books take place. They totally gloss over who's in the front seat because they totally don't want to spoil the surprise at the end. But if you've seen book 1, you might have an idea. Todd tries to sell Mackenzie some of her stuff, but she just hands him a golden envelope, and Massey has to get him to get upstairs to give it to him. But Todd is a little peon bitch, so that's a little rough. He's a little annoying little thing. So she and her friends pretend to be topless upstairs. And the boys come running upstairs. The boys deliver the letter, and we are given it's a CD-ROM, and we are given a video that I will start reading now. Y'all know how Lil Wayne, every fire Lil Wayne song from the mid to late 2000s would start with him lighting up a lighter? Hold up. I'm wearing perfume. I'm not getting any closer to myself. Suddenly, the sound of a match striking. A scratch pad came through the speakers. Then a whoosh. A smooth, pale female hand illuminated by orange flame came into focus. It was lighting the wick of a toga votive. I just never looked that up. I never looked up what that was. Everyone gasped. Massey wiped her clammy hands over the purple faux fur padding on her desk chair. Oh my god, that's Sky's mouth. Kirsten pointed to the Ferrari red lips that filled the screen. I can tell by that little beauty mark to the right of her philtrum. The camera pulled back, revealing a close-up of Sky's flawless face. Her thick, buttery blonde waves and Tiffany blue box eyes, along with the warm flicker of the candle, made her looking at her head-on painful, like staring straight into a beautiful sunset. If you're watching this, Sky whispered, her raspy voice crackling like cellophane wrapping on a gift basket, you have been chosen. Oh my god. Massey hit pause again and swiveled her chair around. I knew it! She's giving me the key! What's key season? There's a bit of back and forth. What's key season? Claire stomped her watermelon-spotted heads. Allow me, Alicia insisted. She gathered her shiny black hair into a smart bun and fastened it with a tiny silver Tiffany pen from Massey's desk. Rumor has it that there's a secret room at OCD the teachers forgot about, and the Alpha 8th graders have the key. It's not a rumor if it's true. What you are about to see is classified, Sky continued, her expression serious and grave. If you can't keep a secret, please eject the CD-ROM and destroy it. Failure to keep the following information confidential will result in the DSL daters ejecting and destroying you. An off-screen chorus of whispers chanted, eject, 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 eject. Destroy, 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 destroy. While Sky stared at Massey. If this is still playing, you have agreed to carry the secret of the key for the rest of your life. The key that unlocks the door to paradise. All of a sudden, the chorus from Nelly's song, Paradise, blasted through Massey's speaker. No, I've never heard that song. And a thing I forgot to bring up is in the little acknowledgements, reading through the copyright, there are 3 different songs that are all got copyright reserved for this book. Paradise, A Secret, and Lose Yourself by Eminem are all referenced in this book. I love that. That's like totally my taste in music. Glittery animated images of rainbows and suns and stars pulsed on the screen to the soulful beat of the music. Then they stopped and Sky returned. This 5-year tradition began when a certain major loser of an 8th grader found the key to an abandoned room on campus. A picture of a tall, gawky LBR standing in front of her locker with a pink knockoff pashmina draped over her barf yellow boiled wool turtleneck appeared on screen. Her face was covered with clip art pictures of a golden key to conceal her identity. She snuck in with her friends, turned it into a secret hang, and invited a few Briarwood boys over during lunch. Within a week, these girls were the new alphas, and the old ones were done. Massey hit pause. Without saying a single word, she stared at Sky's frozen face on the screen and imagined what it would have been like to be the alpha who got usurped by a pack of knockoff pashmina-wearing LBRs. The thought made her stomach churn and her scalp tighten. It was the closest thing to physical pain she had ever known. When she went to high school, she passed the key on to the coolest girl she knew, who happened to be a true alpha. So from that moment on, the keys went to the OCD elite, and now I'm doing the same. Take a look at some of the things we've done. One by one, photographs of the... One by one, photographs of the room, which was half the size of a classroom and windowless, faded onto screen. They were shots of 3 girls laying on a pink beach towel surrounded by white sands and matching bikinis, their faces hidden by animated smiley emoticons. A giant sun lamp beat down on them. Excuse me. Is that sand inside the room? Claire asked. It looks like they're at the beach. Shh. The next shot was them leaning against a juice bar made out of prawn fronds and leaves. It reminded Massey of the Sugar Shack, a poolside smoothie hut she had frequented during her family's vacation to Tonga. The third shot showed 4 grinning emoticons with their eyes closed in cushy black recliners, getting pedicures from 4 shirtless high school guys. Rose petals covered the floors, and Happy Valentine's Day was spelled out on the wall. Behind them, in red foil-covered Hershey Kisses. The photos floated away, and Candlelit Sky returned. And there's something else in the room that's way too incredible for your little 7th grader eyes to see. Sky winked at the camera, but it will be yours if you're the first one to find the key. First one to find it? Who else will be looking for it? She ran a shaky hand through her chestnut brown layers. Don't I automatically get it? Since it's the 5th anniversary of the room, I'm going to break tradition and do something different. Instead of automatically handing the key off to the 7th grade alpha, I'm turning this into a contest and have sent out 5 CD-ROMs to a wide range of girls. This way, non-alphas have a chance to become alphas, just as our great founders did 5 years ago. And I've hidden the key under the mattress of a highly respected Westchester boy who understands that being an alpha is about more than having the right clothes. It's about staying true to yourself no matter what anyone else thinks. I hereby dedicate the key and the following poem to him. Sky's Tiffany box-colored eyes glistened with tears. Massey couldn't help wondering if the effect had been added in Photoshop. Biting her lip, Sky closed her eyes and began. Her words floated across the screen in pink glittery script that seemed too cute and playful for the low, raspy voice reciting them. Just like, she's giving what's her face from Final Fantasy VII. The boy who sleeps atop the key is into the exact same things as me. He loves all creatures big and small, so his age doesn't matter, not at all. I try not to think about his glamour don't style by focusing on his kick butt smile. Note to self, I've kissed this guy, but I've kissed them all. How bad am I? We've already rode off into the sunset together, but the next time we do, it will be forever. Hola! The pink glittery script faded away and Sky's lips returned. Talking about this to anyone, including me or the DSL daters, is against the rules. Searching for the room before you are in possession of the key is against the rules. And asking any boy if I have been to his house is a waste of time. The answer will always be yes. If you find the key, wear the Coach keychain with the little handbag on it around your neck. Then wait. I'll contact you. May the true alpha win. Sky blew out the toka candle, and a swirling gray ribbon of smoke twisted in the darkness, eventually giving up and fading. The screen was black. So, after that long-ass little 10-minute jog I just took us all on, yeah. There's gonna be a whole bunch of different friend groups that could have possibly become the 8th grade alpha. I want to loop back on some things, but I'll have to do that after this break. Okay, so first off, when I was just thinking, Sky gave the CD to Todd. I mean, yes, Massey Claire lives on Todd's land. Fuck, you know what I mean. Claire lives on Massey's land, but, you know, so maybe it's assumed that it should have gone to Massey, but I wonder if it was supposed to go to Claire. I also love the fact that, like, Kirsten was just like, I could also be alpha. Like, when Sky is reading off the list of things, it not having to do with your fashion sense, is like very big to Kirsten, who has great style, but doesn't have the money to afford her, you know, the labels that come with being part of the pretty committee. It's very interesting how it could have literally been any of these girls, except for Dylan. I don't really think Dylan had a chance. We also have to loop back to the fact that the girls immediately were like, let's build a tunnel to Briarwood. Let's get the goth Starbucks girl to work our own personal cabana. People can't know about the room. Why but you can't hire people. The image of Carrie Randolph and her BFF Alexandra Reagan, Metal Mouth, and Livy Collins, Lip Gloss Eater, ruling the room popped into her head. The Makeout Virgins would probably throw parent-supervised, girl-only parties where they talk about the latest technology and braces and the best-tasting bombs. All this while the pretty committee roamed the cold, bustling halls in last year's calf-eye core boots, searching for a warm place to hang. Massey is very concerned about having to conform to whatever a different alpha is, and is Massey not supposedly so into her own personal style? She's just like, I don't know. I don't know why Massey's so afraid. Someone else could be alpha and she could just bully them. She's a very big, scary bully. Terrifying. So as they're lamenting, they're like, these rules can't possibly, you know, pertain to us. What if someone else wins? Dylan anxiously tore a subscription card out of Alicia's Teen Vogue, then folded her chewing gum around it. Impossible, Alicia batted the ad. This is our destiny. It better be, Massey brooded, a massive to-do list forming in her head. I'm not allowed to talk about this with anyone. Kirsten lifted a finger. Point. They can't possibly apply to us, Massey whispered, just in case. Point. Massey turned her back on the naked mannequin and snapped into drill sergeant mode. So now everyone has a job, a list of things they have to do. Kirsten, put a file together of Sky's hobbies. Alicia, I need names of boys she's kissed. Dylan, find out who else got the CD-ROM. And Claire, ask Todd what she said to him. We'll go over everything tomorrow during lunch. So it's the morning of their first day back. And Claire's just like, I do not know how these girls do it. Because it's April in New York and it's still cold. I talk a lot about it, and if you've really paid attention to my outfits and the lighting and everything while I'm filming, I live in the South. And it really only gets cold in late December, January, and into February. By mid-March, it's warm again. So the idea of it still being cold enough that you have to wear a puffy winter jacket just throws me for a loop every time. They like to point out that one of the girls is wearing like short shorts or a mini skirt in one of their outfits, like at the Halloween situation. And of course, to me, that's like, yeah, of course you can still wear a mini skirt in October. It's fine. It's just like, oh yeah, the girls are half dressed all the time anyway. It doesn't matter. So it took me a minute to be like, oh wait, it's still cold in the Northeast, especially in like I said inland, in like upstate New York. I know Westchester's only about like an hour or two outside of New York City, but it is like cold up there. So the girls get dropped off at the back of the school so they can do one last outfit showing before they go through. Claire is worried about standing out because all she's ever wanted to do is fit in. And actually, all she's ever done is stand out. She stood out as Miss New Girl, and then she's standing out because she's a movie star. Claire's nervous about a number of things, and she doesn't feel like she can express them. But luckily, both Alicia, Kirsten, and Dylan, all three, Alicia, Kirsten, and Dylan all have various things that they're nervous about. It's time for wardrobe check. Everyone goes except for Claire, because she knows that her outfit's gonna get ridiculed, and she doesn't want to, waste that on being cold. Doesn't want to ruin her warmth. She's just like, you know what? Skip me. Massey's like, getting skipped over is an automatic 2. And anything less than a 7 means you can't walk with them. Before she can really decide what she wants to do, Dylan says it's too late, and thus, it's time. So, this is the, core memory of mine. I have a lot of personal memories with the song Don't Ya by the Pussycat Dolls. This is the second song that was on the list of songs that were. And Don't Ya is the slutty music that they decide to time their walking to the beat of. I can't think of a sluttier song from my childhood than Don't Ya. It has gotten me in trouble. It is so secular and so slutty that it has gotten me, an atheist raised by atheists, in trouble. That's deep whore. And you know what? Gotta give credit where credit's due. So they're singing, they're softly whispering Don't Ya to themselves. And they're walking in, and they suggest Claire walk in behind them at a 3-second delay. As they walk in to a wall of adoring fans waiting to see Claire and Massey, but mostly Claire. They're walking in to see Claire and Massey and Alicia and Dylan. Dylan's willing to lean into anything, any kind of positive attention she can get. Kirsten has literally none of it, so she's really feeling quite left out. Claire I dropped. Kirsten is kind of weird about all of this, and she's obviously she's obviously jealous about this. And she doesn't want to, can't drop the ball anymore. You've literally already been expelled and reinstated. So, Kirsten is like, I'm not going to be late for class and get kicked out of school. So, Kirsten bops off to class, to her locker, and then off to class, while the rest of the pretty committee gets inundated. Claire gets inundated by new adoring fans. Claire signs mock-ups of the poster for her movie. Technically, starting the day greeted by hordes of stylish, adoring fans was a good thing. But for some reason, Claire found the attention overwhelming. What was she supposed to do with her hands? Let them dangle at her side? Wave? Applaud for them applauding her? And what was about her expression? Should she appear shocked and humbled? Deserving and proud? The only thing Claire knew for sure was that all this hooting and hollering made her cheeks burn and her head light and tingly. Her face felt like a giant red helium balloon and her body a flimsy string. Mock-ups for her movie poster, all the signs and stuff. Everyone likes her and wants to take a photo of her. She's late to class. All the pretty committee sans Kirsten is late to class. Claire makes a pros and cons list on whether or not to leave Westchester for California to pursue acting full-time. Essentially boils down to the reasons to go to California is she can do photography and acting being her second favorite hobby, and she can be the girl that all the girls want to be. And if I ever come back, I'll automatically be the lead in the play, unless it's a musical, because I guess Claire can't sing. She'll get to meet Dakota Fanning. She'll make millions of dollars, enough to maybe buy her mom a nice car. She'll have a stylist who will make her look like a 9.8 every day. and she won't have to wear puffy jackets because it'll be warm weather all the time. California nays are leaving Cam, leaving the pretty committee in Lane, moving to a new city and starting over again. The fact that she has fans in Westchester and possibly more than Massey. And that she kind of does like the fall here and that it's pretty. As she's sitting in front of the principal's office, she decides to nix the idea that having fans here in Westchester is a positive. She does not like the way having these fans made her feel. Massey is ignoring Claire, so Massey is obviously deep in her feels. Massey is pissed. She turns to her attention from Claire getting attention to talking about searching for the key. But people keep coming out to chat with Claire, including Lane. Lainey. The pretty committee makes fun of Claire to shed the shield from their own jealousy. While Lane is sitting at the table talking, we hear that she had to walk to school. Lane's suspenders, hiking boots, and red fedora, complete with built-in water dispenser that reached from the brim to her mouth, were far from the pages of Teen Vogue. Were farther from the pages of Teen Vogue than a size 8 model. Is the sound of music cool again? Dylan asked. Lane poked her finger into a bag of peach-flavored tea mix. Excuse me for not wanting to spend my morning walking 2.3 miles in stiletto boots and a prom dress. Ew, who would wear stiletto boots with a prom dress? You walked to school? Claire asked. Yeah, Chris wouldn't give me a ride because he wanted to visit Tricky. It's her birthday. She popped open a gold heart-shaped locket around her neck and showed Claire a picture of her brother's black horse. Aww. I totally understood. But his girlfriend Fawn was pissed. She removed her finger from the bag, skillfully transferring the anthill of sugar on her finger to her mouth. Then she squeezed her eyes shut. So tart. They kick Lainey out of the table, and then they get to texting about the boys. So the girls have come back with the things that they were tasked to do. Kirsten read her MySpace profile and finds out that she loves many things. Mini muffins, mini Sharpies, mini perfume samples, mini chiclets. Also loves animals, Hershey Kisses, glitter pens, and dance. Dylan has a list of people who have little, the key, who might have gotten the CD-ROM is Olivia Ryan. She's already wearing the keychain around her neck. Also, Lane's alt.com BFF, Heather. Sorry, making a list of boys in math. Researching others. Alicia has the list of everyone that Sky has kissed. Todd, Darrington, Josh, Chris Pulvert, Kemp Hurley, Doug Landsman, Jake Shapiro, Greer Biggs, Laurel Katz, Andy Walden, Oliver Smalls, Ezra Rosenberg, Cody Hill, Geoff Michaels. I believe it's Jeff, but Joff? I hate that name. Louise Rees, PJ Jeffries, Billy Williams, Lee Chan, Harris Fisher, Liam Barrett, and Yuri Buttman. Massey wants to know how Alicia knows who she kissed, and Alicia swears she has to keep her sources safe. Claire didn't check Todd, but she's sure Todd doesn't have it. Claire suggests maybe that they start with Harris Fisher, because that's Cam's brother. However, Claire can't do it tomorrow, so hopefully it can happen tonight or Friday, because she's got a meeting with her agent. It ends up not being able to happen tonight because Cam has a science test he has to study for, And they can't just tell him that they're trying to get to Harris's room. But because she knows the group will be mad at her for flaking off, she lies and says that Cam has an uncle coming. This is all spurring from jealousy, because she could just have her friends go and check Cam / Harris's room without her. But she's so worried about everyone stealing her boyfriend that she refuses to, let the path of least resistance reign. Given Massey would do anything to get ahead and piss off Claire, so maybe she would try and kiss Cam. And we know Alicia kissed Cam, but it's still just like, let it go. Let it happen. The group goes to the back of the cathedral looking for the special room. All they find is some losers praying back there for coolness, I think. Confessing to peeing the bed. It's weird. I don't know. Plot circle, plot cul-de-sac that could fully be skipped. So it's the Tuesday before school, 7 a.m. Alicia, Massey, and Dylan, and Kirsten are there for soccer practice. The girls have made new uniforms. They are not regulation. Can I order one? Kimmy pulled up her regulation knee-high white socks. I'm so sick of the whole navy shorts and baggy yellow shirt thing. I like them. Kirsten pulled her heel to her butt, stretching a hamstring. She looked to her teammates for support, but got none. The gathering sirens were forming an envy circle around Massey, Alicia, and Dylan to get a closer look at their creations. Our uniforms are practical, unlike those. These are more practical. These are more than practical. They're practadorable. Massey paused. Practical and adorable. It was one thing for Kirsten not to wear one of Massey's special edition uniforms, but it was quite another for her to criticize them in public, especially since Massey and Alicia and Dylan were the only 3 girls on the field who looked actually female. Their navy shorts had been ripped open by Massey's housekeeper, Inez, and sewn into A-line miniskirts. Cleavage-bearing cuts transformed their boyish yellow tops into sexy V-neck tanks, and their boring white knee-highs had been cut into sweat bangles and moved to their wrists. Now the girls sported cute little tennis socks with fluffy lemon yellow pom-poms flopping around the heels of their cleats. Introducing their harsh black cleats to this spring's biggest it color, but the piece de resistance, were the numbers on their backs, which Inez had filled in with navy glitter. Massey put a hand on her wrist, one foot out, and toes pointed, giving Kimmy and the other sirens a moment to study the pretty committee's fabulousness. Alicia and Dylan did the same. I wrote that Kirsten's jealous, but I really think Kirsten has an appreciation for her sport and what it takes to play it, and knowing that you can't successfully play that sport looking like that. Coach comes up and is like, welcome, new teammates. Massey is filled with pride as she gets introduced. She starts imagining herself winning MVP for being good and, being good immediately, being the best one on the team. She thinks she's going to be the best at this thing. But then Kirsten gets reintroduced, and it is a big, whopping welcome back. She gets even louder applause. Massey is absolutely like, fuck these guys. Fuck these losers. They're dorks. They're soccer losers beyond rescue. And she's no longer interested. If she can't be the best at something, she doesn't want to do it at all. I am doubly pleased to announce that our star, Kirsten Gregory, is back at OCD after a devastating 3-week expulsion. And that means we finally have a shot at finals. The sirens lifted Kirsten into the air like she had already won the big game. Their cheers were American Idol loud, much louder than they had been for Massey, Alicia, and Dylan. Of course, this time, Darrington and the boys stopped practicing and looked. Despite her frustration, Massey smiled and laughed so Darrington would think she preferred not to be the one getting carried around like royalty. Each time they lifted their star, Massey felt more and more like a foreign exchange student or substitute teacher. Forget the platinum ball and the tiny cleat. Soccer, she suddenly decided, was for people who couldn't afford to shop. The girls are supposed to be evaluated for their new positions on the field. When coach finally notices their uniform and is like, take those ridiculous things off. Take those ridiculous things off. You're gonna be playing in towels, which is gross and exploitative, but whatever. Since they finally shared the field with the boys, and the boys are literally just like right across there. So since they share that field with the boys, they can see the boys over there and they're discussing which one they need to go after next. Dylan drops her empty plastic bag of snacks, and Corey from slips and busts her knee open. As a person who dislocated their knee just one random day, I think it had to have been a Saturday in 2013. You never forget the day you fuck up your knee. God, and as I've gotten older, it's only gotten worse. I'm like doing yoga, I exercised, and my knees still hurt like a motherfucker. So during the distraction of the busted knee, she runs over to Cam and is like, hey, can I come over? And they're like, yeah, I guess I'm coming over on Friday. When she goes over there to confirm that she's going over there on Friday, trying to get it to be able to go over there on Thursday, but he does not budge on that. He's like, why do so many girls want to come over to my house all of a sudden? Ruh-roh. So Claire, it goes to see her agent. Her agent tells her that she's got major star potential. There's this guy who director saw an advanced screening of Dial L for Loser and wants Claire for a role in Princess Nobody. This guy is a 2-time Oscar winner. He's seen an advanced screening of Dial L for Loser and thinks your daughter would be perfect as the lead. Miles grinned. It's about a scrappy NYC runaway who helps the Prince of Bhutan after he's been mugged by street thugs. They fall in love and she ends up becoming a beautiful princess. And guess who's on board to play Prince Arun? Claire's mind went blank. This was happening too fast. An A-list director wanted her to star in his movie. It's Cole Sprouse. It's Cole Sprouse. It's just like... The funny thing is, as an adult, Cole Sprouse isn't the hot twin anymore. It's definitely Dylan. No, Dylan and Cole Sprouse. It's Cole. Hold up, I gotta ask Google. Hey Google, which of the Sprouse twins is on Riverdale?
Cole Sprouse plays Jughead Jones.
It is the hot one! It is the hot one. There's nothing wrong with Dylan. He's just more built. I don't find him as attractive as his brother. I was in the trenches. I'm allowed to have that opinion. It's a bummer that they keep putting Claire into these nobody ugly girl roles, but whatever. She's excited that she'll get a chance to star opposite Cole Sprouse, child sex icon. She's excited that she'll be shooting in New York and that she'd be able to have Cam, but boop bop. She actually has to go to East Asia for the fall for press junctions and to do press tours and film the final scenes of the movie. We have another issue. We were introduced to one, which is Dylan, who believes that if she gets depressed enough, she'll lose enough weight. read that off the back of the book. But we also have Claire's agent who's like, runaways are thin. And while she is considering taking this role and auditioning for this role, continues to text her that harmful information. He like takes the whipped cream off of her pancakes because runaways are thin. The extra cheese in her quesadilla later on, she takes out because runaways are thin. Just like the most triggering shit. It's just like, oh, bummer, I don't like this at all. They don't know where Bhutan is because they're dumb Americans. I don't know where Bhutan is. I do believe that is in Thailand, but I'm gonna Google it. It might be in Singapore. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth, so we're gonna look it up. Let's just gloss over the fact that a small white boy will be playing the Prince of Bhutan when, like, it's either one of two things are happening: imperialist bullshit where a white man is leading all these people of color, or worse, a whole ass blackface, brownface situation is about to pop off. Sure hope that's not the key. Bernard is insisting you show up in character. That means you have to transform yourself into the scrappy, unkept runaway. I'm talking choppy black hair, dirty fingernails, eyebrow extensions. Bernard is tired of the whole loser takes off her glasses and becomes a goddess cliche. He wants to give his audience something more extreme. And believe it or not, he found someone who can sew goat hair right into the eyebrows to make them look coarse, bushy, and one. I'm telling you, this man's a genius and he wants you. Judy and Claire try to offer some middle ground, like, oh, I could wear, a wig, and I got this, this L'Oreal pencil, dark pencil, to make my eyebrows dark. And Bernard's just like, no, you're wearing the goat hair. Claire has to make a decision. If you want to reach single name status, you'll be back here in the penthouse Friday night at 7 o'clock, covered in more dark hair than 8th floor at Supercuts. So, Judy also reminds Claire that she doesn't have to do this, and that this is merely just a fun hobby for her right now, not a job. So if decides that she no longer wants to do it, Judy fully supports her. Judy's like, you don't have to change a thing about yourself. Claire's not worried about changing herself. Claire is worried about the fact that she has a commitment on Friday that she must keep. And, I gotta respect someone who respects the time of other people. So he wants to know, what's it gonna be? Boom, next chapter. So now it's the afternoon and the pretty committee is waiting for Claire. They all have gags and jokes about what glamorous thing Claire must be doing. From flying off to LA, to being at the Ked Factory with Misha Barton. They're driving home from school. We get some fun world building in this book. I really enjoyed it, where as the previous books have really taken place in like 3 locations: Massey's house, the mall, and I can't do that, and Massey's house, god damn it, if you don't get down. They've all taken place at one of 3 places: Massey's house, the mall, and OCD. Outside of that, we really haven't seen anything. This time, we essentially get the slow roll through the surrounding suburbs outside of OCD, where we see where everyone lives in reference to the school. As Cardi B would say, Massey's got the nicest house, the biggest house on her street. There's also, them wandering around the neighborhoods. They have a diner that is in walking distance of OCD. It's really interesting, and it's definitely like a tipping point. We have entered a new era. We're in a new era. Dylan is still searching for a sad story sad enough to help her lose her appetite. All Massey can think of as sad stories is lamenting all the different alternative ways they'll have to dress if Claire doesn't come home and tell Cam to stop letting people into his house. Alicia's trying to assure Massey that Sky's just toying with them, and that she wouldn't actually let the key fall into the hands of LBRs. And that this is all just a test. Please, Alicia waved away her comment. Those LBRs probably go there every day after school and pray for coolness. Oh my god, you're probably right. Massey swept the bangs away from her eyes. Hold up. Because I do actually have bangs. I just keep tossing them up. I can't believe I fell for it. I can, Kirsten blurted. Her snippiness shocked Massey like a surprised hair tug. Are you still mad that we wore those soccer uniforms? Because this has nothing to do with... No! Kirsten rolled down her window. You fell for it because it's true. Look! The girls unclipped their seatbelts and scrunched up beside her. Elaine, Heather, and Mina were gathered outside Mark Cooper's modest brick house with fistfuls of helium balloons that said, Mark is #1, in blue bubble letters. They are now introduced in essentially this like feeding frenzy of all these girls, these different types of girls, all around the neighborhood trying to get into the various boys about town's house rooms and houses. He stops the Range Rover and grabs Kirsten to have them run intercept. This is about getting into that boy's house and getting to that boy's house only. Massey and Kirsten run up into Mark's house after he answers the door, only to find that he does not have a bed currently because his room is being repainted, and so he's been sleeping on the couch. Massey's worried about why Darrington's on the list as they exit the house, and they essentially do recon on the other girls. They tell Chris Pulver that Alicia thinks he's hot so that he stops hanging out with Corey. And then they ask Olivia if her rash is cleared up, which gets Kemp Hurley to stop hanging out with him, I believe, her. That's when Massey's like, I'm putting an end to all of this. I'm going to go talk to her alpha to alpha. They pull into Sky's driveway, or pull near it. She pulls into the corner of Sky's house, and is just like, I'm gonna go in. Dylan's like, oh my god, no you were not. But she's like, I doubt the rules apply to us. She walks in, as confidently as she can swagger. Please. I doubt the rules apply to us. Massey swipes some glitter-infused caramel cream Glossip Girl on her lips and blotted on the inside cover of her science textbook. Ew, that's so gross. That's so gross. Textbooks are shared for like years and they are not sanitized. I mean, I guess she's a rich girl, but oh my god. Sky probably made the whole don't talk to me thing to keep the LBRs away. Any good alpha would have done the same thing. So as they go up to Sky, things go, it is almost really bad. Dylan gives her actually a really good in by sending her in with some mini donuts because she loves mini shit. This could not have gone more poorly. Massey's misplaced confidence didn't stop her from succeeding by failing upwards in dial L. It didn't stop her from succeeding in New York, but it finally stops her when it comes up against another overly indulged teenage middle school girl. She goes up to Sky and Liam at first. That's the first time we hear of Massey feeling like a loser beyond repair herself. A loser stalker. She goes up there. She thinks to herself, the only real difference is in age, so it shouldn't be that bad. That if they were the same age and in the same grade, they'd be kikiing it up, so it shouldn't be an issue. At the top of the driveway, Sky and Liam were beside the Vespa, touching palms to see whose was bigger. Feeling like an LBR stalker, Massey reminded herself that the only real difference between her and Sky was age. If they were in the same grade, they would be BFFs. So why let something as silly as a birthday intimidate her? After all, Sky would probably be psyched to see her stop by. Massey gives a really clean open with the munchkins and is like, hey, I wanted to talk to you about something. Sky asks her why she's here. She's like, I want to know which boy. It's an alpha thing. And she's like, well, I'm the only alpha here and I see a loser. Excuse me. So if you're coming to talk to me about the room, about a school thing, then you're a cheater and you're never going to see that key. Massey pivots so quickly to say that, no, she's there. She's there on behalf of a boy who's asking what she wants for graduation. She's now doubled the pot. Oh my god. She's now doubled the pot. Now Sky needs to know who sent her. And if Massey guesses, if she tells her wrong, then she's not going to get the key. And if she doesn't get the gift, she's not going to get the key. What's the gift, you might be asking? A pony. She wants a horse. A pony. Huh? Massey dried her cheeks with the back of her hand. Tell him I want a pony for graduation. And if I don't get one, certain other people won't ever, ever, ever get what they want. She glared deep into Massey's eyes. Know what I mean? For a split second, Massey considered playing dumb, but Sky was obviously onto her, and it would have been legitimately dumb to anger her more. A dizzying, falling sensation overcame Massey. It felt worse than an eyebrow wax. The pain lingered in ways that associated with ripping hair out of her face didn't. Don't worry. I'll tell him about the pony. Massey showed Sky her phone to prove it. I'll call him as soon as I dry off. While you're at it, tell him to stop sending lisps to do his dirty work. She put her hands on her hips. That is, if he even exists. Massey's ear buzzed. No one had ever called her a little, insignificant 7th grade peon before. No one had ever dared. Standing there, trapped under the hateful gaze of OCD's 8th grade alpha, Massey didn't know whether to defend her honor or run. It's, the only thing scarier than a 7th grader is an 8th grader, because they have all the vitriol with a more direct, the super laser that a middle schooler can read you for has now been primed a little better. She runs back to the car and gets in there, and everyone's like, oh my god, does she want us to win, right? She's so excited for us. And Massey is like, Dylan, why did you send me in there with munchkins? And that's the end of the chapter. But my question is, the munchkins were far from the issue. Literally everything that goes wrong in that situation is Massey's fault. But, she can't blame herself for that. So now Massey has to think, how is she going to buy a pony without her parents noticing? Baby, you can do anything on the dark web. Anything. So Claire gets home from her meeting and she gets a text from the PC to meet at Girls Like Us headquarters. Claire is rolling up in a very specific fashion, pushing her black oversized wannabe Dior sunglasses up her nose and securing her fake Coach, plaid bucket hat. Thank heaven for Times Square vendors and their cheap designer knockoffs. Claire assumed crouch and dash position. She was about to make a run for it when someone shouted, "Hey Nicole, I loved you on The Simple Life." Dylan spots her and they go inside. Claire, I realize I really do say Claire. Claire is really was hoping someone would be excited for her, ask her what she did with her day, but they're not. They simply shove a pamphlet full of papers in her hands and explain what the information is. It's got a whole spreadsheet of boys that Sky has kissed. It's 3 whole pages. I'm not going to read them. So 3 pages of notes, spreadsheet. She gets another text from her agent telling her, runaways don't eat. Claire is like, can we move the meeting to later? Because I have she doesn't tell them. Because she kind of wants to drag it out of them. And instead of just being like, I have an interview, she's like, well, we can scope up some of the other guys first. And Massey's like, that makes no sense. Why? This is the person we have the best chance with. Why not? Claire's finally just like, Massey's finally like, okay, Claire, what's this really about? Massey finally looked at her. Is something bothering you? She sounded like a concerned friend, and Claire couldn't help wondering if this was Massey's way of apologizing for not asking about her meeting with Miles. Maybe she had heard the pain in Claire's voice and opted to put their friendship before this stupid key contest. And if this was the case, then the least Claire could do was return the gesture with a little honesty. I don't know why Claire reads Massey so generously. This girl has never given a genuine answer to her in her literally no. Not in her bones. She has an audition. She tells them about the audition. She tells them about the audition and about the Cole Sprouse. They say that Dylan is cuter, but... So you're saying you want us to change our plans with Cam? The ones you set up so you can go to your movie audition? Massey bobbed her bare feet in anger. Yeah, Claire tried. Please, when are you going to realize that this has nothing to do with you and Cam and everything to do with our 8th grade alphaness? Nervously, Claire folded the hem of her camo skirt. It's chaos out there, Claire. Chaos! Pointed to the floor-to-ceiling window. Well, you were lunching with Planet Hollywood. Every girl in our grade has been trying to score an invite to Cam's house. When Claire's like, why didn't anyone tell me? Oh my god, I gotta change my lights. They're doing fireworks, I guess. They're like, check your phone. You've been sending us directly to voicemail for however long. Maybe she's too famous to answer her phone, Alicia suggested. Or maybe she can't hear it under that hat, Dylan said. Or see it behind those glasses. Kirsten added. Claire stood and faced everyone. Wanna know why I'm wearing this? They glared at her. She tore off her disguise, revealing a head of goth black hair and that looked like it had been cut by the teeth of a wild dog, and a dark, bristly 5-inch eyebrow. 5 inches is a lot. I was gonna say as a former bushy brow girl, because now I shaved off my eyebrows. But as a former bushy brow gal, it's like that's, big brows is not the problem, but seeing as the brows are 5 inches, maybe there's a little bit too much going on there. They said nothing. No jokes, no giggles. Swallowing hard, Claire met their eyes and began. The director wants me to wear this to the audition Friday to show how dedicated I am to the role. They said nothing. No jokes, no giggles, no screams, just silence. It is a bad look. Showing dedication to the role is nothing to scoff at, But this is a child. The relentless insults begin here. They actually aren't that bad, on paper. Like, they just don't play them, but we do know that they happen. So it's Wednesday afternoon, and it's time for everyone to get deployed. Alicia gets deployed to Josh to go ask him and check his bed. Dylan is sent to get some boy whose dad is a dentist, and Kirsten gets Ezra Rosenbaum to talk to about golf. Massey's then sent off to talk to Darrington. Massey lies and says that Isaac is conserving gas, and that's why she needs a little bit of a ride if they could ride double. They go over to his house, which is like this sterile, icy cold modern block building. It's just a square. Everything in the house is clean. They meet up with his housekeeper, Minnie, which all of a sudden is clicking all these boxes for Massey. And she's like, this is it. It has to be it. She keeps trying to get up to his bedroom. Like Darrington, his house had its own style all its own. Amid a street of old stone mansions, wrought iron fences, and foreboding trees, Terra Domus was an ultra-modern cube of metal and glass. What about your bedroom? Darrington stopped. Suddenly, Minnie was beside them, dusting a marble chest that, according to the bronze nameplate bolted to its base, had the name A Bust. You should see our new pool table. It's covered with red velvet instead of green. I want to see your room. Mass was all too aware of Minnie and didn't want to sound like a sleaze. To get decorating ideas for my brother. You don't have a brother. I know, but adopting is so in right now, and my birthday is coming up. I already have a puppy and a horse, so... it's really cold up there, Darrington mumbled. The heat is broken. Minnie dusted harder. That's okay, I just want to look around. But my mom doesn't allow guests upstairs. Minnie snickered. She's not home, Massey murmured, hoping her words might somehow slip past Minnie undetected. Can we just hang in the basement? Massey wondered if Skye had encountered this much trouble getting in. Minnie straightened an already straight Jonathan Adler floor vase. Why do all females... Oh, God, not this mansplain manipulate motherfucker. Oh, my God. Why do all females want to see the inside of Derek's room? Massey practically exploded like a rattled can of Diet Coke. What females? I'm going up. She raced to the second staircase. You can't! Wait! Darrington chased after her. Block! Stop! She gets into his room and it is a filth hole. It's so gross. It is piles and piles of garbage, moldy food. It stank. It is just gross. It's nasty. So Massey takes a deep breath of her Chanel No. 5 sprayed into her wrist and flips up his mattress and finds nothing. The only thing gained out of this experiment is now her cooling feelings towards Darrington. He is gross enough for her to not want him anymore. She's like, hey, I'm already running late. I gotta go. She calls Isaac and jets off to this diner that we are introduced to. So Massey heads over to this 50 Styles diner that is apparently very close to the school. It is called the Rap Star Gourmet Sandwich Shop. The girls are all sitting around and no one has any information. Massey informs the girls that Darrington did not have the key, and now that she's like so grossed out by him, it's over. Just over. He's dead to me. In case anyone wants to know, Josh's room was creepy clean. Alicia licked the raspberry froyo off her spoon. Even for a girl. Darrington's was creepy dirty. Massey dipped a paper napkin in her water glass and scrubbed her hands. He's so dead to me. Claire stopped chattering. Just like that? Yep. Massey threw the soaked napkin on the table where it landed with a soggy splat. The bedroom is the window to the soul, Claire, and his soul smells like kitty litter. Honestly, I'm messy, but I'm not filthy. And thus, I am very particular about where I spend my time. And if I get grossed out, I'm just like, I've never been aroused by anything ever. I'm the Virgin Mary, don't touch me. Claire is grappling with this because she's got like double dates planned and movie dates, and Massey's just like, unplan it. Claire trying to convince him to stay with him. Alicia's like, cool, we get to be single together. And then when Massey's just like, well, now I can move on to another boy, Alicia's like, what about being single? What about our hot girl summer? It would be like the TikTok trend currently that's just like, why me and my girls can't participate in hot girl summer. And it's just like, Claire's in a relationship. Kirsten has a soccer tournament and Massey can't because she's engaged in a battle of the wits with all the boys. They are reminded, as they think about the key, they are reminded of the fact that they could all be dressing like dumb Olivia, which really, they shouldn't be worried about how dumb she is. They should be worried about how she likes to wear faulty faux designer clothing. Claire gets another text from her agent telling her that runaways are thin, and then Lane shows up. They ask her what she's doing there. Lane? Claire put on her glasses. Here comes our new alpha, Massey snipped, dressed in yellow low tops, pink and orange striped knee socks, denim cutoffs, and a tuxedo blazer. Everyone snickered. What are you doing here? Claire asked. He's depressed. She pointed to the takeout counter where her brother Chris was lightly kicking the base of a stool. His signature scruffy brown hair was messed to perfection, but torn jeans and a ripped black tee were an unflattering look for the otherwise preppy All-American. Make him... By the time we get to these books, that's like the yummiest thing a boy can be. But styles and times change. From J. Crew to Motley Crew, Massey muttered, obviously shocked by the sudden transformation of her old crush. Fawn dumped him. She said goddamn. Fawn dumped him. She said he spends too much time with his horse, so she spread a rumor that he puts wigs on Trixie and pretends that she's his girlfriend. Everyone at school has been calling him the horse whisperer, and he's depressed. We're here to get his favorite meal, number 27, a Philly cheese steak wrap. So literally at the top of this book, when I was going through all the boys that I knew about as far as characters, I was actually thinking about Chris and how I was like, he just really showed up for one book and then disappeared. Chris could have been one. I was like, wasn't Lainey's brother one of her crushes? Massey is trying to figure out Lainey is a part of any of the groups trying to get the CD. She's pretty mum's the word, so it's pretty assured that she is, but whatever. It's not confirmed. Claire is still super jealous about her friends going over to Cam's house on Friday without her. Couple days later, it is Friday, 4 p.m. As Massey's doing soccer practice and being miserable, they're all just kind of bopping around the field doing poorly. Alicia runs without lifting her feet up, so, she's destroying the field. She does not run fast. She does not move fast. So, as they're trying to get over to Cam and the boys' side of the field, Coach yells and is like, ah! They're like, okay, we gotta go. We have to ride home we have to get over to Cam's. How are we going to do this? Since when are Kaya, oh my god. Yeah, Kaya, there's no L. When did Kaya and Penelope all buddy-buddy with Harris Fisher? They think he has the key, Massey assured. They must have the other 2 CD-ROMs, Dylan concluded. Without a single word, Massey jumped to her feet and took off towards the Mustang. Come on! Wait! Dylan rolled onto her side, then pushed herself up. Yeah, wait! Alicia speed walked behind them. Stop! Coach Davis waved her toned arm like she was hailing a cab. Now! Massey froze. The coach jogged to meet them by the fence, eyeing 2 trails of uprooted grass behind Alicia's wake. What happened to the field? She gasped. Alicia checked the bottom of her shoe like someone who just stepped in dog poo. The metal spikes were covered in mud and weeds. Girls, do you care about your school? Do you care about the OCD sirens? And are you aware that we have a chance to make it to the finals? Then please, I am begging you. Please, please, please quit the team. I'm sorry if this hurts your feelings. It can be our secret. In fact, I'll tell Principal Burns you injured your ankles from overexertion. She zipped her lip and threw away the key. Just please don't play on Sunday. And stop coming to practice. Seriously? Seriously. Done. Boom. So, those three, at least, and probably Claire, are out of contention. They head over to Karis's car, which I believe is a minivan or something. I think we learned that in this one. Yeah. They are like, we're gonna go and do soccer practice with Cam. And he's like, get on into the car. Massey finds out that Claire lied about having an uncle that was visiting on Tuesday. So Massey's feeling doubly slighted. She is so dead to me. They get into the car and they get where they're going. Massey's all up in Cam's room with all the boys. With all the boys you'd expect. Josh, Pullet, Kemp, Darrington, Alicia, Dylan, Kirsten are all up in the room. Actually, I don't think Kirsten's there. I think she's still at soccer practice. But they pull down. Cam was like, let's go outside to do this soccer practice. And they're like, no, we'll just do it up here. We'll just take the mattress. They yeet the mattress off the bed. They don't break it initially, but they will, in fact, break shit in his room. Outside is so far, Alicia whined. All we need is a little padding, and we can stay right here. She stepped away from the bed and stood behind Josh and Dylan. Ready? 1, 2, 3, pull! They yanked the mattress onto the floor with a thud. Cam checked the jewel case maze, which miraculously remained intact. As Massey had suspected, there wasn't a key there. It was time for phase 2 of their plan. Kickfall! Darrington took a running dive towards Dylan and gave her a leg sweep, knocking her face first onto the mattress. Not with the cleats! Pleaded Cam. Get off! Dylan laughed as she fought her way out from under Darrington. Your pit smells like sour cream and onion chips. Darrington lifted his arm and smeared his post-soccer practice stink in her nose. Ew! Dylan squirmed frankly, then bap! She burped and blew it in his face. Everyone laughed, including Darrington. Even though the last thing Massey wanted was Darrington's sweaty BO near her T-zone, she found herself temporarily hating Dylan for flirting with him. Did you just crack your back? Massey stood above them, showing no signs of amusement. What? No, that crack. Massey winks at Alicia. Yeah, I heard that too. Dylan burst out. I think I hurt my lumbar. We definitely need more padding. Good call. Massey perked up. Let's get Harris's mattress. Cam is like, no. They slam past him, shattering his poor plastic maze. The girls burst into Harris's room and locked the door. Old movie posters of guys she didn't recognize hung in what smelled like a Scotch tape factory. Open up! Twin beds! Dylan cracked her knuckles. No problem. Massey dashed to her side. Ready? Alicia moved quickly. Poor Alicia. And grabbed a fistful of burgundy comforter. Okay. Massey grunted. Ready, set, all four shoves. The mattress slides onto the floor. And there is not a key under his bed. We're in Claire's perspective, next chapter. Claire shows up at Lane's house at night crying because she got kicked out of the pretty committee for lying. She doesn't say that at first, but, moving quickly. They go upstairs to hang out. Claire, in fact, did get the role, and tomorrow she will be speaking with her lawyers to discuss some of the stuff like her pay and all that. Come inside. My brother's upstairs listening to Neo's So Sick on repeat. He can cry about Fawn, and you can cry about not getting the... I did get it, Claire sniffled. The lawyers will be at my house tomorrow to look over the contract. Bravo! Claire unclipped her headgear and tossed it in the air like a graduation cap. When do you start shooting? Summer. Did you meet Cole Sprouse? Next week when we read the script. Is Bernice nice? Bernard. Is Bernard nice? Totally. Claire sighed. Gave me roses. My mom has them. Her vision blurred all over again and the backs of her eyes pinched. Then what is it? Claire picked up her headgear. Elaney picked her headgear off the oriental carpet and clipped it around her neck. The two spiky ends pointed straight at her jugular and gave Claire an uneasy feeling. It's complicated. Claire stepped into the small square receiving room, just beyond the front door. The walls on either side of her were covered in mirrors, creating an illusion of 1,000 Claires. There was Friend Claire, and Actress Claire, and Cam's Claire, and the Pretty Committee's Claire, and Sister Claire, and Daughter Claire, and Student Claire, and Orlando Claire, and Westchester Claire. They went on and on and on. So they go into Lainey's room, and Lainey gets to see her crazy prosthetics for the first time. They have some sassy back and forth. When talking about Cam, Claire almost drops the ball about the secret. But it's like, why does she have to keep the secret if she's already been kicked out of the Pretty Committee? But she's a good friend, and, you know. Cam got grounded because of what Massey and the Pretty Committee did. It's insane. Lainey's like, I wonder why they did that. Wink, 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 wink. I went to Cam's after the audition because everyone was going there after school to look for she caught herself just in time, to look for soccer tips. And Miss Fisher told me she sent Massey, Alicia, and Dylan home because they destroyed Cam's room and Harris's bedroom. When I asked to see Cam, she told me I couldn't because he was grounded for letting them do that to her house. Poor Cam. I wonder why they did that. And that's why you're crying? No. Claire instinctively grabbed Lane's elbow when they entered her famous glow-in-the-dark bedroom, allowing herself to be led through the pitch-black labyrinth filled with all things luminescent, oozing lava lamps, posters of big-headed Martians, and fiery-haired trolls. Finally, they reached her bed, the duvet a massive canvas of neon orange, yellow, and hot pink splattered paint. Above it, the solar system in sticker form clung to her ceiling. The stars and planets were shining in radioactive shades of green. I was crying because when I called Massey to tell her I was on my way to the sleepover, she freaked out on me. Why? Because you got the part and she didn't? She didn't even audition. So I'm sure she's still expected to get the part. Claire giggled, tickled by how well Lainey had Massey figured out. She uninvited me to the sleepover and kicked me out of the Pretty Committee. Forever. She thinks I stood in the way of her, and Claire stopped. A flood of prickly heat itched in her palms, reminding her how dangerously close she had come to breaking Sky's #1 rule. Her and the white. Nothing. What? Nothing. I know, whispered Lane. I know about the key. So, because they're so paranoid about Sky finding out, they actually communicate through Ouija board. Which I think is really fun. They put their two groups worth of knowledge and brain power together, and they realize that Sky gave her brother Chris, Lainey's brother Chris, a bag of kisses. All the boys that give her rides, she gets kissed. She gives them bags of kisses. Lainey reached out for the slab. Yeah, you? Yeah, does Hershey Kisses count? Hershey Kisses? Lane snickered, then cupped her hands around her heart-shaped mouth. Just kidding. What? Lane whispered. She gave Chris a bag of Hershey's Kisses last month when he drove her home. Seriously? Shh. Lane fanned her mouth like she had just taken a bite of burning hot pizza. Unless Sky works for the CIA, you're wanted, the room is probably safe. Lainey giggled, then tossed the Ouija board on the floor. Sky gives Hershey Kisses to every guy who gives her a ride. It's her thing. Did you check? A subtle twitch on the side of Lainey's jaw told Claire that they were thinking the same thing. Chris, let me in! Code red! Code red! He lets them in. The This boy has Mike's Hard Lemonade in his room. Who's giving these children alcohol? Claire's bedroom was Sky's poem. The cologne samples meant he was a mini lover, and there was no question how he felt about all creatures big and small, especially horses. And ever since Fawn had dumped him, his clothes had been stained, ripped, or both, something even Claire knew was a glamour don't style. Maybe you should get off the bed and get some fresh air. Claire tried her best to sound constructive. Chris rolled onto his side. What was the code red? Nothing. We were just worried about you. Lane twirled her horse locket necklace around her stained index finger. Claire scanned the room, desperate for inspiration. She found it in the half-empty bottle of Mike's Hard Lemonade, by his Dell. After a quick pantomime where she demonstrated throwing the drink on to Chris, Claire handed it to Lane. They both bit their lower lips, which trembled with a combination of guilt and giggles. And then, achoo! Claire dumped the leftover lemonade onto Chris's neck. What? Claire, why do you always push me when I sneeze? Sorry, Chris, was all she could think to say. We'll change your sheets while you get cleaned up. Girls, man. Going back to boarding school. And there it is. The key. So, as the back with the pretty committee, trying to cross off people, trying to figure out, pretending to be the health department, you know, doing the good old Mean Girls gag of calling with 00 first. I believe that is Mean Girls and not Clueless. Where she pretends to be the health department. It's like, if you kissed Sky, did you? And they'll be like, so Claire and Lainey call them anonymously, pretending, you know, but they don't stick to that very long. They fumbled the bag pretty hard on saying anonymous. Paige. They found it. Why won't they just keep it? Dylan asked. Because they know I'll make their lives miserable. Massey mumbled into her satin pink throw pillow. What now? This. Massey hit last call received. Do you have the key or not? After some fumbling and frantic whisper panicking, Lainey said yes. Where did you find it? Under Chris Abley's bed. Claire chimed in. Oh my God, Claire. Massey felt sick to her stomach. You're involved in this? Yep, she replied proudly. Well, as the head of the pretty committee, I insist you hand it over. Massey wished she could text her hand to Claire's phone and smack her. If you don't, you will be charged with treason. You kicked me out, remember? Claire sounded like she was sticking her tongue out. Your rules don't apply to me. Massey was temporarily hated Claire for being right. Well, I want proof. She told him about the mini cologne bottles, the glamour don't close, his love of horses, and most importantly, the Hersey kisses. Massey remembered Liam crumpling up the silver foil and tossing it onto Sky's driveway. How could she have missed that? It was right in front of her face the entire time. Okay, they agree to meet on Saturday. Claire's like, can we do Sunday? I have a meeting with my agent and all that. God damn it. And they're like, no, we are not putting this off. We need to do it now. So Lainey is like, whatever. We will show up at Alicia's tomorrow at 1:30. Don't worry, we'll get the key. Alicia crouched and put her arm around Massey. I've gone to court with my dad, like a million times. I know how to negotiate. What if she wants us to take her shopping at the second-hand stores or relax? Alicia grabbed Massey's frigid hand and looked her in her eyes. Remember that famous plastic surgery case last summer? Massey shook her head no, even though she did. It was the point that escaped her. Was it that one where the cocktail waitress wanted a body like Jessica Simpson? Kirsten giggled. Alicia nodded. Oh, I remember that one. Dylan finally peeled off her soccer uniform and slipped into one of Mr. Block's old Exile Brooks Brothers shirts. She got Jessica it. I hate the way this is said. Then flew to LA and hit on Nick Lachey. When he turned her down, she sued. Her doctor claiming that if she looked like Jessica, he would have asked her out. My dad represented her and she won. Alicia sparkled with pride. That girl got $10 million. Per boob? PB. I don't know. I just wanted to share that with the class. Everyone had to hear that. So Lainey shows up late. She there. Everyone's actually. We're gonna take a little break. Actually. Okay. So Lainey's showed up late. They're playing baby lawyer. All of a sudden, Lainey bursts through the double French doors, looking like a combination of George Washington and Batman. I did not come here to wet. You know I can't do a British accent. Y'all know I can't do a British accent. A gray barrister's wig covered her stringy beige hair. The helmet of tight curls framed her face, then ended in a low ponytail that had been fastened with a black cloth bow. A cape-type gown was draped over her shoulders and tied at her collarbone. Round, lensless wire frames were perched on the bridge of her nose, and the silver locket was handcuffed to her wrist. Truly, what happens in this chapter? Important, but in a way I'm going to explain it so it's actually, like, good, smart, instead of kind of the stupidness. Lainey and Claire have some negotiations they want to make. 1. Claire would like to be reinstated into the Pretty Committee. 2. Lainey would like access to 2 sleepovers per month and a guaranteed spot for her sleeping bag beside Claire. And she can be in charge in one of the activities, which might include working with clay, recreating unforgettable scenes from Tony Award-winning Broadway shows, or mask making. Claire calls Lainey in the middle of all this. And so she calls the office so that they're all on the speakerphone. Alicia's help comes in with a gold-plated cart with an assortment of Sunday making supplies. Lainey essentially drops anything that she wanted to say prior to this because she wants to make her Sunday. She is just a little kid. She's just never forgotten it. They're pretty firm with their wants until the ice cream shows up and Claire has to go back to the meeting with her, lawyers and stuff. The Pretty Committee discusses their wants and they sit down and talk. After 10 minutes, Lane, we've heard your terms, now hear ours. Committee. Lane pulled a feathered quill and a tiny jar of red ink out of her wool knee sock and set them on the table. 1. Claire may be reinstated to the Pretty Committee, as long as she apologizes for lying about Cam's uncle. 2. She only gets to stay in the Pretty Committee if she stays in Westchester. 2. Lane can come to 1 sleepover per month, and we will make fun of her, only if she insists on working with clay, recreating unforgettable scenes from Tony Award-winning Broadway shows, or making masks. And yes, she can put her sleeping bag beside Claire so long as Claire is there. That is a given. 3. Unlimited access to the room has been denied. Permission to store poster board and other sign-making materials has been granted as long as they are kept in a suitcase made of either Louis or Coach. 4. We cannot and will not promise to pretend like we like you in public. If we like you, we will act like it. If we don't, we don't. Massey then makes one more ask. Massey rubbed her chin like she was mulling it over. On one condition. She glares at Lane. Is the picture of Tricky still inside that locket? Lane spit it out of her mouth and nodded. Wipe it off and give it to me. The way Alicia and Dylan, Kirsten looked at her, Massey might as well have borrowed Claire's kids. Why do you want this? Lainey clutched the gold necklace. Deal or no deal? We stop making fun of my clothes? I'll try. No deal. Okay, fine. No, she gives her. One more thing. She has a confidentiality agreement for them to sign. Lainey signs hers, obviously. Massey has to give Claire hers to sign later. Alright, let's get into the end game. So now it's the afternoon, later in the afternoon, and Massey takes over the confidentiality agreement for Claire to sign. When she gets in them, the two actually have what I feel is a really beautiful heart-to-heart, in which Massey helps Claire re-bleach and dye her hair. They discuss their feelings. It's a good old third act talk your feelings out section. I think this book doesn't have a talk your feelings out. This one has one between Claire and Massey. This is the one that has it between Alicia and Massey. This one is between Kirsten, Dylan, Massey, and just bullying Nina. This one is when they all argue in the woods. Yeah, when they all argue in the woods. And this one is when they all scream when they get into the chocolate fight in the elevator. I'll need a minute to vet this. Claire used her lawyer's word for examine like it was the term they had tossed around on IM 20 times a day. Given. Massey sat on the toilet seat cover. She unbuttoned her burgundy blazer and pulled a platinum chain out of her barely there cleavage, giving way to a clumpy, awkward necklace. A cluster of pastel-colored enamel handbags hung alongside a red leather tag stamped with the boxy Coach logo. It was exactly what Skye had asked for in her video, right down to the dangly gold key. Next year's going to be so amazing. This room is going to mean automatic A-list in high school. Claire ignored her attempts to provoke jealousy, pretending to vet the agreement. Remember that tunnel you were talking about? Claire kept moving her eyes across the words. 12-point courier, bold, all caps. With grave intensity, the way her lawyer had done with her studio contract. Well, we're already working on plans to build it, so Cam can sneak in during lunch. A little ... and I'm moving on. Looks good to me. She scribbled her name under Lane's and snapped the black cap back on the weighty pen. Congratulations. It sounds like the room is going to be cool. She reached into the plastic bag and pulled out a box of Revlon's Frost and Glow bonding kit. Cool? Massey looked her in her eyes for the first time since the brow extensions. Yeah. Claire tore open the package and snapped on the protective gloves. It sounds like you're going to have a fun year. It doesn't bum you out at all? No. She mixed the blonding powder with the blonding cream. Why should it? 'Cause you're not going to be a part of it. Send pictures. Massey's glossy mouth hung open. Is that it? Send pictures? That's all you had to say? She shut her eyes for a split second and then gently shook her head in a no, this cannot be happening sort of way. What about Cam? What about him? Twisting and contorting, Claire struggled to reach the back of her head. A glob of dye landed between her collarbones, missing her hair entirely. Doesn't he want you to stay? Massey grabbed the dye brush from Claire's hand and dipped it in the mix. Yeah, Claire turned, surrendering to Massey, but he's the only one. She pulled off the gloves and handed them over. You mean if other people wanted you to stay, you would? I don't know. Maybe. I bet your family will miss you. Why? They'd go with me. Oh. Massey massaged harder. What about Lane? She'll visit. Claire pulled a little pair of silver scissors from her bag and ripped off the cardboard wrapper. What about Kirsten, Alicia, and Dylan? I heard them say they want you to stay. Yeah, right. When you kicked me out of the pretty committee, they didn't care one bit. Raising the silver scissors, she snipped the thin black thread that had been woven into her brows. A flurry of coarse black hair fell past her blonde lashes. Then snip, snip, snip. More hair dusted the rim of the white porcelain sink. Fussing with the tangle of handbag charms around her neck, Massey murmured, I'd probably miss you. What'd you say? I said I'd probably miss you. Even though Claire's paste-covered hair was stuffed in a shower cap, and her left eyebrow was blonde while the other was black and bushy, she felt more confident than she had in her entire life. That's what I thought she'd say. So that mean you'll stay? There's a loud pounding on the door. It's an emergency. The emergency is Todd trying to get divorced from his parents in the style of that 90s movie, like Kramer versus Kramer, I think it was. I don't know. I'll put it up here. We find out that Claire quit the movie, which is why she's obviously de-dragging herself. So it's over. The two make up and Claire is back in the pretty committee, obviously. All right, 2 more chapters. It is time. The squad is all hanging out. The boys and the girls are at the soccer game getting ready for finals. Sitting around watching and waiting, Darrington wants to show Massey something, but she just does not have the time. Everyone cheers as blonde Claire and the end of her movie career, for now. Massey takes the locket and the note and gives it to Todd to give to Sky. She gives Sky a note, claiming that if she oh my god. You ever flex your arm and then put pressure where those blood vessels are going? Ooh. Todd, can I talk to you for a minute? The 10-year-old was sandwiched between Tiny Nathan and some kid wearing a floppy red and white striped cat in the hat. It's important. So he gives her the note. Sky, here is the pony you asked for. One day I hope I can get you the real thing. Happy graduation. XO, Chris Apperly. P.S. Don't thank me ever. I really mean it. Please don't. I'm very, very shy. So, the pretty committee stood, mouth agape, as Sky broke away from the skater, took the envelope from Todd, and read the note. Seconds later, she handed the package to the DSL daters, who fanned their faces and squealed like they were holding an invitation to Zac Efron's birthday party. As promised, Sky threw her decorated arms around the redhead and gave him a juicy kiss on the lips. Todd turned to his friends and threw his fists in the air. They cheered like he had just scored the winning goal. Speaking of winning goals, Kirsten actually scores a winning goal, and it looks like they're getting closer and closer to the finals. It's 1-0 for the Sirens. A foot long is delivered to the group, and Massey's like, I'd never eat a hot dog. So they're freaking out, and then Dylan and Claire are like, we'll split it, it's fine. They open it, and it's a note written in spicy brown mustard in what they assume to be Sky's beautiful loopy script. It said 4 p.m. storage shed. And the piece de resistance, Kristen was charging down the field, dribbling the ball. She circled around the stocky meerkat, did a kickball, and shot the ball straight into the white net. That's the game. Darrington smacked Massey on the shoulder. Everyone cheered and hugged and chanted Kirsten's name. She's our best friend, Dylan shouted. We used to be on the team, Alicia announced. We're going to the finals, Claire yelled as she and Cam punched the air the mild spring air. Casually, as if removing a mascara booger from the corner of her eye, Massey reached under her sunglasses and wiped away a happy tear of relief. Now Kirsten was famous too. Block. Darrington stepped onto her bleacher, then hopped down beside her. Will you please look at this? He turned on his digital camera and shielded the tiny screen from the glaring sun. Massey lifted her oval glasses. She was looking at a boring shot of a navy comforter-covered bed and a hay-colored sisal rug. So what? It's a room. I'm not even in it. It's my room. He beamed. I cleaned it for you. Suddenly, Massey's stomach dipped, like she was riding one of those sea-tossed sailboats etched into his tin headboard. He cared. Want to come over after the game and see it in person? But what about? They go and she goes to see it. She's going to see it tomorrow. Aww, he cares. Lisi knows how to write a book with a boy that if they wanted to, they would. The Brazil boys are weak compared to Darrington. Alright, So it's 3:50 on Sunday afternoon. It's time for them to go meet up with the girls. The girls are hanging out on the roof, which is wild. The DS daters, blonde dance troupe descends from the shed and takes them blindfolded to a part of the school. She doesn't want them to know where the room is until they confirm that they have the real key. As they wander through, the pretty committee is chatty as hell, and the daters are so fucking over it. They're like, shut up, stop talking. After 139 paces across a slick floor, a walk down a short ramp and 2 flights of stairs, they reach their destination, a damp room that reeked of wet cardboard. Before I open the room, I need you to understand that you are about to become members of an exclusive club. Massey curled her toes to keep from leaping. If you get caught in here, you will have ruined a sacred time-honored tradition, and all the past key holders will unite and make your lives miserable. Could you imagine getting bullied by a college student? Because 5 years out from 8th grade is college. A college student is just like, you fucking dork. Brah, brah, brah. Honestly, getting bullied by a junior in high school, it's just like, don't you have college essays to be writing? Don't you have a tardy slip to be forging? Like, focus on your own shit, babes. Don't worry, we never get caught. Massey hooked her hair behind her ear. Aren't you literally the girls who just got expelled? We got back in, didn't we? Massey countered. Don't worry, this world will be safe. This room will be safe with us. Alicia looked straight into Sky's intensely turquoise eyes. Good. Sky stuck the key in the hole. She jiggled it right and left. Alright. Sky poked the key in the hole again. This time, it entered without a problem. Then, with a single click, the door unlocked. Welcome to private school paradise. Massey reached her hand inside the dark room and flicked on the lights. Alicia, Claire, Dylan, and Kirsten stepped forward. Everyone gasped. Did I lie? Sky gushed. Massey tried to answer, but couldn't find the words. No one could. Okay, so, obviously, plot twist, we'll be joining up in book 8, which you'll see at the end of the end card, which is book 8, but you can't help but stan. I felt particularly attached to this book because I think it's gorgeous. Obviously, I matched my dress to it. I, got all done up. I actually wore earrings. My hair's in a ponytail, which is always a crapshoot when I have to film for this long. I really went out on a limb for this book. I don't know why I'm putting it away. Some straight thoughts I had as I finished the book, and it reminded me that as we are leaving June and going into July, we are coming up on the 1 year since I read Alphas by Lacey Harrelson. A futuristic sci-fi teen drama about Sky Hamilton. And my only thought is that Harrelson spent the entirety of Alphas books having love interests that wouldn't do anything. And especially after setting up the Clique books, they are an exemplified example of if they wanted to, they would. How did this happen already? Goddamn. Lacey has these boys. Darrington, he wanted to make sure that Massey knew that he was about it, and he showed out. He did what he had to do for her. He cleaned his whole room. Meanwhile, someone looked at Charlie wrong, and Darwin was like, I'm sorry, I just can't do this anymore. Like, what a scab. Ugh. So this is coming out, again, like I said, I'm filming this on June 30th, and this is going to be coming out July 15th if I'm so lucky to be blessed with the time and forethought to get this done ahead of time. It should. I don't plan on waiting until the end of July. So you'll be getting 2 videos like this from me this month. Because this is coming out on the 15th, but I have not filmed yet, you'll also have started getting some Bachelor content, which will be coming on a weekly basis. I have been struggling because I really have enjoyed doing my little Y2K girly McBling shit here over the hiatus, but I feel like this channel is my channel and I should do what I want. And I want to talk about The Bachelor with someone who I want to talk at The Bachelor, and I can't harass my friends with that any longer. And honestly, is that not why I do these videos about the Clique, about, you know, crazy Barbie dolls, about, you know, my scene movie from my teenage years? I do it because if I harassed my friends and loved ones like I harass you on a weekly basis, I simply would not have a place to live or friends to talk to. So I'm doing what I want to do. No niches, no God. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, where I do my makeup, I talk shit, talk smart, do memes, wear eyelashes, you know. I'm always all up in the comments, so following me is like being able to open up the comments on TikTok and seeing some of the funniest replies. I don't know. This month of June has had tremendous growth for this channel, and we are coming up on the 1-year anniversary of me really posting on this channel, and I'm just really proud of it. I'm just cultivating my little nostalgia community here and on Twitter, and talking. I don't really talk on my beauty YouTube channel, which you can follow. It's going to be thrown up in the end card. New end card. I felt like the pastel sage green was a little too boring, and it had words that I couldn't read. So I made a new end card that is just me, and I got some new channel art, and I love pink, I love purple, I love soft, yeah. Alright, I hate doing outros for this channel. I have an end card. Bye, guys. July's book, which would have been August's book, book 8, is sealed with a disc. I'll see you July 31st. This book has a cracked spine, so I think I read this one. Cool. Yeah. I agonized over my outfit today just for you not to be able to see my yitties, so you can see my dress. It's got hearts all over it. Can't wait to get a breast reduction. Subscribe to my channel so I can get a breast reduction.